leaving Moab this morning. This officially kicks off our no BS journey to Alaska. Here we go.
And with that, we pushed our bow toward the north. We had 10 days, 1,000 miles, and a whole lot of general housekeeping to do before our first reservation at Banff. We made our first stop in Salt Lake City, where we stayed on the shores of the Great Salt Lake. The next morning, after a squall, a rainbow lit up the sky. It was a beautiful morning, but there was a lot of choring to be done.
Turn right onto 100 South, Seagull Lily Drive.
Bath time.
Kelly had been having some serious tooth pain that she was finally going to be able to get resolved.
I don't think I've ever been happier to be at a dentist.
Between chores, we stopped at Level Crossing Brewing Company to meet up with a childhood friend of Kelly's, Marie, and have some delicious pretzels.
Pillowy.
While Stormy got some R&R. With fresh oil in Roman and grease in Piccolino, the sun set on our time in Salt Lake City.
Heading north.
To Idaho. Idaho Falls, to be more exact, along the Snake River at the South Tourist Park. We enjoyed the company of our feathered friends when not out and about. We rounded out our day with some brews from Idaho Brewing Company and a couple of delicious pizzas from Mr. B's Wood-Fired Pizza.
What do we get?
Then we had some gooey goodness from the cookie place. The next day we were back on the road.
So far, Montana looks a little different.
We found a sweet spot by a reservoir for the next couple days.
Hello, Montana. We are at Horse Prairie Campground at Clark Canyon Reservoir in Dillon, Montana.
And somebody's about to grab this spot, so we're gonna have to be really quick. But we wanted to show you what it's like out here. This is the best spot in the little campground. It's dispersed camping, free of charge. And it falls under Department of Land Reclamation, I believe it is. Anyhow.
Free camping for up to 14 days. They have a pit privy, but
That's your scenery.
views are amazing. We'll do a little panoramic, but man, I wish we had more time to just decompress here because it is absolutely gorgeous. And if this is any indication of what's to come as we head further north, wow.
Holy guacamole.
Wow.
Stormy enjoyed walks along the beach and the occasional belly dip.
A little delayed birthday puppy ice cream.
Hey, happy birthday
To Stormy.
The morning greeted us with a beautiful sunrise out our window.
Storms on the other side of the reservoir, but man, does it make it pretty.
We passed the time playing cards with Stormy until the sunset turned the sky and mountains into fire. The next morning, the mountaintops were covered with a fresh layer of snow. We took some time to update our travel map, and Stormy posed for his wind-blown glamour shots. Then it was back on the road, crossing the 45th parallel, halfway between the equator and the North Pole.
Cute little town of Boulder, Montana. Decided to pull off real quick before we left town, have a bite to eat.
We got passed by one of the coolest trucks I've ever seen on the road. Continued our drive until we arrived at our last stop in the States, Shelby, Montana, and Lake Cholula Park. The park was a great place to get our last few errands done and get a health certificate for Stormy. Stormy was intrigued by the neighbors, prairie dogs, and bunny rabbits. And I enjoyed Gary's omelet from the griddle, a sausage, green pepper, onion, cheddar, and hash brown omelet served with country potatoes and smothered in sausage gravy. And Kelly tried out some washers from the 1950s.
Downside of old laundromats, while they may have some cool retro machines of all those dryers, only 6 work.
We picked up our last bit of mail, including swag from Oliver. On our last day, we even found time for a couple walks.
Came up over the ridge. What's that, Jay?
Lake Cholula.
We think it's Cholula. I don't know how to pronounce it. Did not expect to see this in northern northern Montana. So this morning when we walked around, beautiful skyline, you can see all the walking trails. Not so much now.
A little bit of haze.
A lot of haze. Wind's coming from the northwest, so we're assuming it's the wildfires that they're having in northern Alberta.
Where we're headed.
Right where we're headed.
The next morning, the smoke had turned the sun orange, but it was time for us to head out.
We're officially off. This morning we had Stormy's vet appointment to get his wellness certificate so that we could cross into Alaska. So he passed that with flying colors, so we have that in hand now.
And clean teeth.
And very clean teeth, apparently. So this is now going to be sitting with us for the next month plus. Actually, the whole summer. It's pretty much going to be in the front seat with us. So we've got that. We are all prepared with all of our documentation for the border crossing. Stormy's rabies certificate, insurance information, Canadian non-resident, province insurance documentation, passport cards, registration, all the things. All that stuff is ready to go.
Drank the excess booze.
We cleaned out the liquor and beer. We reduced our quantities of that. We got rid of all of our fresh produce. We are within all of the limits for meat. Yeah, those are the big...
Now let's see if they let us cross.
No. Hopefully they let us cross. So we are...
Thanks, Oliver, for the new swag.
Yep. Got the new swag in. We are unofficial Oliver ambassadors with some new beanies. Hopefully we'll need them. It's going to be pretty warm in Canada. There are wildfires, so you can see the haze still. Not very good. Sorry about that.
Dirty windows.
Yeah. So be crossing into Canada here in the next few minutes.
In 2 miles, take exit
Here we
389
go.
toward...
One other thing I didn't mention is we also have in the truck with us both of our canisters of bear spray. We will disclose that we have those when we cross the border, but we've been told that as long as they say bear spray on the label, then they're good to go. But we wanted to make sure we had them on hand and not in the camper in case Border Patrol wants to see them as we go by. So, helpful hint, make sure you have them in your vehicle so you don't have to go back to your rig.
Lo and behold, at the border there were 2 other eggs in front of us. We waited our turn to pass into Coots, and then put the camera down as we were waved forward.
Hello.
Good, how's it going?
Good.
Doing well, thanks.
Good. Coffee too.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Where do you guys live?
Maine.
Okay, what brings you up?
We're headed to Tuktoyaktuk and then Alaska.
Okay, perfect.
After a few more questions, we were cleared for entry.
Okay, you two are all set.
Thank
Thank you
you.
much.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. We're cleared. We're in Canada.
We were excited to have crossed out of the lower 48 and into Alberta, Canada, until my first refueling. Join us next week as we pass through Alberta on our way to Banff and Jasper, where we get back to what we love the most.